Howdy, folks. From Big Top Chautauqua at the top of Wisconsin, welcome to another episode of Tent Show Radio. I can't believe another year's gone around. Is at a big top I see there high above the ground. Ballyhoo, oh ballyhoo. Funding support for Tent Show Radio is provided by the Bayfield Inn, with over 21 hotel rooms, over 25 vacation rentals, a lounge, on-site restaurant, and rooftop bar. There's something for you at the Bayfield Inn. Any traveler, any season, any meal, your view awaits. More information at thebayfieldinn.com or on facebook.com/bayfieldinn. And by the Ashland Area Chamber of Commerce, Ashland, Wisconsin, the mural capital of Wisconsin, with over 30 retailers in our 8-block historic district. Get a free brochure of self-guided mural tours at visitashland.com. And here's your host of Tent Show Radio, best-selling author, singer-songwriter, and humorist, Michael Perry.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to Tent Show Radio from Big Top Chautauqua. Tonight, I sit down on the stage with some songs, some stories, some good friends, and a singer wearing braces that I paid for. At intermission, I'll share a story about that young singer when she was an even younger singer. Folks, the show you're about to hear emanates from a special space in a special place. The Big Top is just that, a grand blue and pearl gray striped canvas beauty suitable for a circus, but in this case home to a history of stories, laughter, and music, especially music, delivered live and under lights on a stage that has served names recognized both in our backyard and in the far corners of the world. The Big Top seats are set directly on the earth, and what a spot of earth it is, green and glorious, atop a hill so high it overlooks beautiful Bayfield, Wisconsin, Lake Superior, and those all-natural water-bound wonders, the Apostle Islands. If you enjoy that vision, and if you enjoy what you hear over the course of the next hour, and you want to see and experience it firsthand, please get to know us at www.bigtop.org. It sounds beautiful up here because, well, it is beautiful up here. You ought to grab a ticket and come on up. Folks, our show tonight was recorded on a beautiful summer evening when the Big Top folks asked me to come up to sing a few stripped-down versions of my songs and tell the stories behind those songs. I did that, but I also brought two friends along. My dear friend, piano player, and sometimes personal pilot, Evan Middlesworth, and my dear friend and roadmate and bandmate and transcendent pedal steel player, Ben Lester. I also brought along a young singer-songwriter who goes by the name of Charlie to sell merch, but she also joined us to sing harmonies and a couple songs of her own, and then we drove home together because I'm her dad. And so here we go with some stories, some songs, and a stage full of smiles. It's me, just happy to be there with Evan, Ben, and Charlie.
Sally's got a trailer at the edge of town, runny-nosed kid sleeping on the couch, living on beans and American cheese. You know, it could be worse. It could be the end of the dream. Junior year on the 4th of July, 1,000 pounds of black cat across the sky. Everybody oohed and everybody everybody odd. Sally and Jack were watching from behind the garage. The last boom boomed and the sky went dark, and Jack drove off to find a place to park. Well, there was no road map and no wedding ring, frantic love. Hell, it was a beautiful thing. Love long gone and time long spent, souls washed out and hearts caved in. Happy ever after left this town, and running down the road without a turnaround. Making tin cans on the graveyard shift, Christmas wrapped in a credit slip. Sometimes she stands at the trailer door, takes a deep breath, says, Lord, I can't do it no more. Cause Jack did the right thing the first 2 years, but the last thing she heard, he lives south of here. But sometimes at night she hates that man, thinks about the boy and figures she'd do it again. Love long gone and time long spent, and souls washed out and hearts caved in. Happy ever after left this town, and running down the road without a turnaround. Well, sometimes at night she thinks about all them dreams that never worked out. Like bridges burned long before the river was crossed. The smoke still hangs in the corners of her heart. A woman and a child, gone. 12 more payments on a broke down Ford. The trunk won't close, you can't open the door. Some folks would dream of a long limousine, but Sally would settle for just a little change in the scene. Dirty little secret about a mobile home. They haul it in off the open road, and then they detach the hitch, roll the wheels away, home sweet home. Guess who's here to stay? Love long gone and time long spent, souls washed out and hearts caved in. Happy ever after left this town, and running down the road without a turnaround. Sally's got a trailer at the edge of town, runny-nosed kid sleeping on the couch, living on beans and American cheese. You know, it could be worse. It could be the end of the dream. Thanks a lot. I don't know who you're expecting tonight, but this is who you got. Happy to be here tonight. This is going to be very relaxed. If you can think of the tent as your living room, which is not a hard thing to do. This tent always feels like a living room. I always say, whether it's 900 people or 90, this place feels like a living room, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to play in this venue every time. I always say, this place and the people who started it and the different entities of it, they have a history long predating the time I ever was allowed to stand on stage here. And I always think of myself and comport myself as a guest. So that song, people ask me if the songs are true or if they come from real people. So Sally and Jack is a perfect example. There is no Sally, there is no Jack. But of course, if you went to the place I'm from, you would find those people everywhere in that town. And I did indeed have a classmate who was a single mom in a trailer out at the edge of town, and that was the seed of the idea. And then you just you slowly start to fill in the details. 1,000 pounds of black cat against the sky. I once worked in Wyoming, and I watched the fireworks one night in Casper, Wyoming, with a young lady from Minnesota, and I just remember them talking about it was 1,000 pounds of black cat that you saw exploding. And so that line just kind of hung with me, and one day I stuck it into a song. The other thing that, the one sort of literary element of this song is I have that line, dirty little secret about a mobile home. And when I was writing this song, I was reading Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck. And he had a section in there where he stopped and visited a young couple who had just bought their first mobile home. And he was a machinist, and I'm not sure what she did. I think they had a child. And he wrote with marvel about this new house on wheels and how it was going to free the working class because they could move into it and they could have a job, and when the job disappeared, they could just pick up and move and go to wherever the work was. And of course, we know that over time, a mobile home kind of took on the reverse meaning. So that's a nod to John Steinbeck. And then one other thing is, I don't get away with being too arty too often because of my background and people who know me, and if I try to be too fancy, they just cut me down to size. But, I do try to write the very best stuff I can from my little heart. And then you go to rehearsal with disrespectful band members, and they ruin your songs.
Make it better.
I have a song called Somewhere South of Sunday, and it was a lovely song and great fun to do until the night in rehearsal when the band started singing the chorus as Summer Sausage Sunday.
Pretty good.
That's the end of that. And we have another song called Underlined. It's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, underlined. And that worked fine until the night they all went underwear. I mean, this is the level of intellect that I'm dealing with here. But they even ruined Sally and Jack, because that song has about 14 verses, as you now know. And when you sing the same verse pattern over and over, you try to throw a little something in there occasionally to vary it. So there's that one line where it says, Sally would settle for just a little change in scene. And so instead of singing it the same way, just one time I just started singing, Sally would settle for just a little change in scene. And do it kind of breathy. And then one night I did that, and one of the band members said, here's one for the ladies. So now that was ruined.
It's not ruined.
So there's not ruined? Just mildly dinged. So this next song grew out of the book Population 485, and there's a lot of humor in Population 485. But there's also a lot of tragedy, and a lot of that tragedy is neighbors and sometimes loved ones. And my brother lost his wife in an accident. He was the first firefighter there. And this is a song that I wrote for him. And we have a backup singer I want to bring out to help us do the chorus now. Charlie, are you there? Yeah, come on out. This is my daughter, Charlie, everybody. And this night and every night we sing this song for Uncle Jed. January days, and I can see a trace of your breath out there in space. Sundogs of gold in the blue, one to each side of the sun. A picture of me and you. I never knew never knew. Corn rattles cold in the road. The wind is a pushing snow. Sky's wicked with crows. They wheel and they plunge from above. Ragged black holes in the gray, calling like dogs on the bay. I never knew. I never knew. Where are you now? Where are you now? I stand in the void and I call. Where are you now? It's green here in June, but it's cold as an empty room. My heart is hung on the moon. Where are you now? Where are you now? I never knew. I never knew. I stand in the void and I call. Where are you now? This next song here, a little nervous singing it tonight, because one of the things about writing songs and singing them, writing books and reading them and sending them out into the world is that the people you live with every day also have to hear about those songs and those books. And you don't always live up to the things that you write, but you do your best. Or you oughta. And one of the blessings of my life is my wife and daughters, because I just can't get away with being fancy around them. And I always say they read my stuff or they listen to my stuff and then they compare and contrast. So this song, when I sing it, I'm aware that I don't always live up to the sentiment of the song. but I still count it a great blessing that one day I was in Fall Creek, Wisconsin, and I was going to do a little reading at a little library there. And I had forgotten a box of books in the car. It was a cold winter's day, and I went back out to get the box of books right there on Main Street. And around the corner of Big Jim's bar, and it's important that you hear me say that they came around the corner of Big Jim's bar, not out of Big Jim's bar, came this woman holding the hand of a little girl. And I just remember when they walked by me that their eyes were both the same color blue. And I didn't know it, but I had just met my wife and my older daughter. And so I wrote this song about that experience. My wife grew up in the country, partly on a farm, partly in a small town. Did not grow up easy. Grew up knowing how to bale hay, grew up knowing how to hold things together in a family that maybe things weren't going so great in all the time. But so she's very grounded, very solid. She can drive a pickup truck and chop the head off a chicken if need be. But she also is more educated than I. Yeah. And she also studied shamanism in Central America, and she's bilingual. And when I talk about the shamanism, I think that's really cool. I don't always understand it. And the only place where I think it's truly been an issue at all ever is once you have children, there are certain healthcare decisions that have to be made. And I always say that when one of the kids look peaked, my wife will say, well, I think we should burn some sage. And I always say, how about if we just go to urgent care? But I'm deeply blessed to have her in my life. She provides such balance. And in this particular song, that's the Shaman Girl reference. And it's also, when I talk about going to the canyon, I did a piece right around the time when we first met. We went on a date. We came up to see a show at this place called the Big Top, the Lake Superior Big Top Chautauqua. And I wrote about that trip in the book Truck. And I think we'd known each other for about 3 months, and it was over for me. I had decided this was it. And somewhere along Highway 2, right? Is 2 the one that goes along the? 2, yeah. Somewhere along Highway 2, I looked her right in the eyes and I said, this is it for me. I feel that I can commit myself to you for the rest of my life. And she said, well, I'm going to wait until we hit the 6-month mark, and then
keep your eyes on the road, too.
And as I wrote in the book, that was like getting hit in the snoot with a rolled up newspaper. Anyways, the last little bit I'll say about this song is that by the time we met each other, we weren't really of an age or a naivete where we were going to pop the question on each other. We just decided when the time was right to ask each other to get married, we'd know it. And as it turned out, that was in Preservation Hall in New Orleans during the clarinet solo of Yes, Sir, That's My Baby. Shaman girl on the sidewalk with your baby at your side. Could you love a man in blue jeans, tattered shirt and a cluttered mind? Bottom line, given time, we'll be fine. I am staring at the canyon. I am bringing you to mine. I am looking for an answer. I see rocks and sky and time, and I find as a raven flies, so do I. Hey, baby, I am straight 3/4 time. Hey, fly, how I fly, how I fly. A true line. Yeah, walk the line. Boatman, can you read the river? I hear rapids round the bend. Steady hand on the tiller. A little luck and a little dread. Vows are said. Now I lay my head on the wedding bed. Should I grow to be an old man, chasing echoes of your heart, I close my eyes and see us walking in New Orleans after dark. You and me, cheek to cheek, New Orleans. Hey, baby, I am straight 3/4 time. And hey, baby, I can be deaf, dumb, and blind, but I fly, how I fly, how I fly. A true line. Yeah, walk the line. Straight 3/4 time. Hey, hey, baby, I can be deaf, dumb, and blind, but I fly, how I fly, how I fly. A true line. Yeah, walk the line. Shaman girl is on my doorstep with her baby at her side. She is thinking she could love me. My tattered shirt and my cluttered mind. Bottom line, given time, we'll be fine. So we'll do this one here. This is a really old one. Haven't done it for years and years, which always means it's interesting. And The only two comments I'll make about this is it references an overpass, and there's an overpass right outside of New Auburn, and that overpass has shown up in a lot of my books. In Population 45, I wrote a novel called The Jesus Cow, and there's a scene where the main character goes out and stands on the overpass and thinks about life, and I may have done that myself out there, and that's why the Beagle saw me standing on the overpass that one night, staring at the moon, deciding whether or not to... No, I won't say that. But anyways, and then the only other thing is the very last verse of this song comes from an Annie Dillard quote. Some of you are familiar with Annie Dillard's work. She's a big influence on me as a writer of books. And she said, even lovers, even twins are strangers who will love and die alone. And I don't find that scary at all. Standing at the edge of town, listen to the big rigs hammer down. Light up and hope to hell. This whole world keeps spinning around till the break of dawn. I'll be gone. I still recall your face, turning up to mine. My God, how far we fall in our own sweet time. It's a thin, dark line.
From the top of Wisconsin, you are listening to Tent Show Radio.
You got hearts busted one by one.
Tent Show Radio is a production of the nonprofit Lake Superior Big Top Chautauqua, the Carnegie Hall of Tent Shows.
Welcome to Intermission, folks. A while back, I published a book called From the Top, the top being this very big top. The contents of that book contained mainly monologues from this very show, meaning the piece I'm about to share from that book has already been on this show. But it was over a decade ago, and I ask your indulgence in sharing it again now, as in light of this evening's show, it takes on new meaning. So here we go. From way back in the early 2010s. I had my guitar out the other day and was noodling around on it, playing a very complicated riff constituted around plucking a D chord over and over and not much else, when Jane, my youngest, climbed up on my lap and started singing made-up lyrics along with my stumble-bum strumming. The first verse had something about a dog and a princess, so you know there was some potential there. I threw her a G chord then, and she went with it, which seems like a good sign, like she's got a sense of pitch. Life goes better if you have a sense of pitch. You know, so you can sing along, but also a sense of pitch so you can get a read on folks and maybe figure out if you want to sit in with them, kind of try and match their groove, or maybe you want to move along and hum a different tune. When her sister Amy was the same age, we used to do this very same thing. I'd just strum at nothing in particular, and she'd sing. One day we were noodling along when she stopped, turned her face up to mine, and said, "I want to sing and play with you for all my life." I suppose she wondered why all of a sudden Dad's eyes got all shiny. There are a lot of reasons why you might want to learn to play a guitar. I've heard many guys, famous and not famous, say their main reason for learning was so they could get girls. I know Townes Van Zandt said he got his first guitar because he decided it was the shortest route to get girls in Cadillacs, just like Elvis got. Of course, you don't need a Y chromosome to play 6 strings. I'd like it if my girls learned to play guitar sometime, because one thing I've noticed about women who play guitar is that they don't tend to suffer fools. And if they do suffer a fool, why, they put him in a song and run him out of town forever. I'm afraid my girls won't learn much about playing guitar from their old man. I didn't learn my first guitar chord until I was in my 30s, and when it comes to working the old fretboard, I'm about as clunky as they come. I often say I play guitar with all the nuance of a guy cutting brush. But there we were, my younger daughter and I, just easing along, me going D, A, G, and her going along verse by made-up verse when, just like her sister all those years before, she stopped and looked up at me and said, "Daddy, when I sing, my heart feels colorful." Of course, I went all shiny-eyed again. Nobody's ever going to plunk down their cash to hear me play guitar solos. Nobody's ever going to give me a Cadillac for my finger picking. But twice in my life now, I've played just well enough that my daughter said something so pure-hearted that it makes my eyes shine up to even this very moment. To all you fellas out there playing your guitars so you can get girls, eat my dust. I've got 2 of them now. And someday they will be together, recalling their childhood days, and one of them will say, "You remember how every time Dad played guitar he'd get all teary? I know he wasn't all that good, but jeepers." Well, now it's 2023, and I still ain't that good on the guitar. But I've lived long enough now to watch those little girls grow and join me on stage and upstage me on stage. And one of those times was last summer in a big, beautiful Big Top. So let's go back now to that evening for a few more stories, songs, and singers, including the one in braces I paid for. In the story I just read to you, I changed her name to Amy, but you'll hear her tonight as Charlie.
Yeah. I was just thinking you broke the rule you explained in the first half of the show. We'll do it anyway.
Yeah. I'm fading in Indiana. Sunrise ain't helping at all. And I feel just like an old hat rack. Wooden bones and a cold plaster wall. Bring me the head of Edward Hopper. Bring me his robin's egg blue. 7 a.m. and I'm losing whatever was left of you. Take me to an old train yard. Turn me loose in the weeds and the rust. I will dream I am an old hobo, drawing my maps in the dust. And I will wait for trains that ain't coming. I will flag down the ghost of a hope. Press my ear to the track and I'll listen for the sound of you never coming back. Somewhere a flat patch of light, yellow as an old harvest moon, lies rectangled on the back porch of an old clapboard house, with a room where a woman stands alone. Maybe somewhere there's a world where time just dries on the wall, and you can stay just as long as you like, yeah. Nothing ever changes at all. Bring me the head of Edward Hopper. Bring me his robin's egg blue. 7 a.m. and I'm a-losing whatever was left of you. 7 a.m. and I'm a-losing whatever was left of you. So I talked earlier about your family listening to what you write and then comparing it to how you comport yourself on a day-to-day basis. And then I also talked about the band sometimes taking my very precious art and warping it. Well, I have 2 daughters, and my elder daughter is my given daughter. That's a word that someone gave me once to describe a daughter that came into my life when she was 3 years old. And what a blessing. And I want to acknowledge her tonight because we go way back. She's 22 years old now. So the first time I saw her was there at Big Jim's bar. She's old enough to go in there now. But one of the things I love is how family and children keep you right down to earth. And Evan and I were working on a song. It's not one we're doing tonight, but it was one of those, I showed up at the studio with 47 verses. And Evan said, we could probably accomplish what we need to in 4. So we trimmed it on down and we worked on this song, and it was a different sounding song than I normally do. And I really, really loved how it turned out. And then we shot a little video for it. It's a song called 40 Acres Deep. And we shot a little video for it, and I brought it home, and down in the living room, my wife and younger daughter were with me, and I wanted to show them this song that we'd made. And my elder daughter, she was up in her room studying, and we started playing this song, turned it up a little bit, and then I hear footsteps coming down the hall upstairs and then down the stairs, and my elder daughter pops her head in the room and says, "What is this heinous music you're listening to?"
Whoops, I dated.
So, try to stay humble.
Brought you right down a peg.
But anyway, as I have 2 daughters, and this next song that we're gonna do, I wrote it one day. I was in my office in a little room above the garage where I do most of my writing, and it was a time of self-examination, which is not easy. I was feeling like I was not hitting the mark as a husband. I was also feeling like my elder daughter, or my given daughter, was headed off to college, so there was that sense of a child leaving. And I wasn't feeling sorry for myself, but I was definitely deep in reflective mode. And I just left the writing desk, and it was dark in there, and I went out, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and I just walked out to go walk through the green grass and look down into the valley. And halfway across the yard, I just found this beautiful, gorgeous little bluebird dead in the grass. And I just thought, well, guess go write a song about that. So this song, I'm going to bring my daughter Charlie out to help me sing it again. And this is a song I wrote for my daughters. Flew too far, flew too fast. Do you remember? I gave you my word. I used to call you little bird. You no longer sing, but I still hear wings beating in the black, beating in the blue, beating back to me and you. Little bird at the edge of the nest, crazy little heart beating in your chest. Do you remember our bedtime prayer? Wherever you go, I'll meet you there. And you no longer sing, but I still hear waves beating in the black, beating in the blue, beating back to me and you, beating back to blue, beating back. Thanks. I'm the nervous one during that song. I have a trouble counting in songs, and she'll be like, "Dad, you came in late." That reminds me of another. So we're getting ready to do a show, and you get sometimes the sound tech or the stage people will they contact you ahead of time to get what's called your stage plot, to find out where everything needs to be plugged in, how many people, how many instruments, and this particular tech was in the room with us. Evan was there, my daughter was there. The guy doesn't know I'm there, and he says to Evan, "Well, does Mike have a guitar? Does Mike play guitar?" And Evan said, "Well, Mike has a guitar." So
That is true.
very harsh. So I want to step aside again and let Charlie sing a song that she wrote.
This song is called Villain. I wrote it probably 3 years ago now, but here it is. Oh my love, I hope I never hurt you, but I'm sure I did. Oh my love, day after day, 2 weeks and months. Don't worry, the villain never wins. My love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. My love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. Oh my love, our hearts break, simple to do, but not easy to take. Oh my love, now everything we thought we had is long gone. Don't worry, the villain never wins. What a strange thing to say, she's not mine. My love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. Don't worry, the villain never wins. What a joke to imagine you could love me. What a lie to imagine you could love me. What a joke to imagine you could love me. What a lie to imagine that anyone could love thing to say, she's not mine. Oh my love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. Oh, I'm worried, don't let the villain win. My love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. Oh my love, what a strange thing to say, she's not mine. My love, what a strange thing to say. Oh, she's not mine, she's not mine, she's not mine. And the villain's gonna win, yeah, the villain's gonna win this time. And the villain's won over me, and I'm the villain in my own story.
So I'll just have y'all know, that was a little band talk right there. And Mike just said, should we just do summer sausage? So, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, Benny.
We're not the only ones.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
My bad.
We're gonna send you on your way here with one that, well, it is Summer Sausage Sunday, and it's kind of a kicker, so it's a good one to send you on your way. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This was very much, like I said, kind of a relaxed. Let's just show up and enjoy our time with the folks who show up, and we're very grateful to be here. We're grateful to the tent. We're grateful to all the volunteers. We'll hang out in the merch tent a little while longer. But most of all, thank you. There's just a million other things that you could be doing tonight, and here you are, and we're grateful for that. So, and thanks also to Bob the One-Eyed Beagle for coming to see the show.
Classic Perry move right there.
Evan and Ben, everybody. Thanks for the help from Charlie. And thanks to my wife, Emma Gibbons.
Funding support for Tent Show Radio is provided by the Cable Chamber of Commerce, Cable, Wisconsin, the gateway to Bayfield County, where world-class trails, forests, lakes, and adventure await. Visit cableforfun.com. That's cable, the number 4, FUN.com. And by the Washburn Area Chamber of Commerce, Washburn, Wisconsin, the year-round center of adventure on Chequamegon Bay. Information at washburnchamber.com. And by the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce, beautiful Bayfield and the Apostle Islands. You can tour sea caves and shop our galleries and stores on the shores of Lake Superior. Info and lodging at bayfield.org. And we're brought to you by Bayfield County Tourism, with details on where to play, eat, and stay at travelbayfieldcounty.com. The Bayfield Inn, with over 21 hotel rooms, over 25 vacation rentals, a lounge, on-site restaurant, and rooftop bar. There's something for you at the Bayfield Inn. Any traveler, any season, any meal, your view awaits. More information at thebayfieldinn.com or on facebook.com/bayfieldinn.
Thank you, friends. Evan Middlesworth, Ben Lester, and Charlie. We'll see you down the road. Maybe even at breakfast. Well, folks, that's our show for tonight. Whether you beam it or stream it, we thank you for listening. We're as grateful as a guy who shares the stage with ones he loves. We here at the Big Top would love it if you come on up Bayfield Way or down or over or through for a live show one day. Details always available at bigtop.org. You can visit me anytime at sneezingcow.com. Until next we share the air, remember, where I come from and here at Tent Show Radio, nobody ever says goodbye. They just say, well, I suppose.